study steel, you have to study heat treatment also. So heat treatment is a process which includes heat treatment. For any further in-depth detail, you have to attend your process classes or refer your textbooks for in-depth details. Because if you discuss about in-depth details, it will take more time. I can do it, but then it don't need time. Okay, so within 2 hours or 1 hour 45 minutes exactly, I'll try to cover the entire heat treatment process. Okay, now when we say materials, right, there are two categories of materials. One is metals, another is non-metals. Now, if you take metals, again you can subdivide it into ferrous metals, non-ferrous metals. If you take ferrous metals, you can further subdivide into cast iron, molybdenum, white iron, sporadic graphite iron, cast iron, and then sporadic graphite, then alloy cast iron. So, if you go deep into that, each family will have some more divisions. Okay, then the next ferrous material is steel. So if you take steel, again in steel we have plain carbon steel, low alloy steel, high alloy steel, low strength high alloy steel, and stainless steel. In stainless steel, again there are so many subdivisions are there. Like that, so subject is very wide. Then if you take non-metals, where there is no metallic element present, it is purely plastics, wood, plastics, right? Then polymers, then composites. Okay. Now in today's situation, because the ores are getting depleted, we have only a limited availability of metallic ores, and the ores are not available in one country in plenty. Right? If India is bestowed with iron ore, some other countries bestowed with copper ore, some other countries bestowed with antimony, some other countries bestowed with gold. Okay, so availability of all ores in one place is not there. So you have to depend on availability from different countries. Okay, point here is over the period of time, 100 years or 200 years, the ores are getting depleted. The deposit available below the earth of various ores is getting depleted. So if 150 years, if ores are getting depleted, there is a question of metals. Okay, so in order to compensate that, this non-metal area, a lot of R&D work had been carried out, still the research is going on. These non-metallic materials can also be converted into engineering materials. So once they are converted into engineering materials, they can replace these metallic materials. For example, you take plastics. Plastics are developed now in the year between 70 and 90. Almost all engineering products are being replaced by plastics. For example, you take your domestic. Earlier in 60s and 50s and 60s, to carry bucket of water, we used to have an iron bucket. Now there is iron bucket. It's all plastic, isn't it? So like that, the engineering applications of metallic materials are being slowly, constantly replaced by non-metallic materials. But then coming to engineering application, you take a plastic. There are different types of plastic. One is thermoplastic, another is thermosetting. Thermoplastic cannot be used as an engineering for high engineering applications. For low engineering application, low duty application like carrying water, the PVC bucket is okay. But then for engineering application, for example, the bearing, the polymer bearing in a machine used to be earlier bronze bearing or copper bearing. So they are very costly, availability is also restricted. They are replaced by Teflon bearings. They are replaced by polymer bearings. Okay. So how to make these polymers into an engineering material? Because the constant R&D that has taken place over the years, many of these polymers can be converted into engineering polymers. So if you manufacture a product from engineering polymer, right, so they can replace metallic materials. Okay, this is how the whole subject is going on. Lot of R&D. Then another thing is composite. Right, these composites are finding a place, extensive usage.